Child can hear you.
What are the kitchens?
It's quite a complicated document.
Chances.
If you turn to the third page, you can see the window in which patient one had abnormal laboratory results and life-threatening symptoms.
Where is Mrs. Martinez's body?
Released to the family.
They put a lawsuit together.
We don't believe we are aware of the unusual circumstances around patient speculation.
Hey, seeing you need to mute your mic. We can hear everything.
Great situation.
I just wanted to hear your voice, G.
All right, there we go. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Coming in loud and clear, Big Mo.
All right. Did y'all like my fancy music?
Good morning, Mo.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's so good to see everybody here. Where's everybody calling from today? Just real quick, just do a roll call. Where's everybody calling from? Just say your name and where you're calling from.
Alita Turner, Sacramento, California.
Hey, Alita.
Brother Akbar Muhammad, Chicago, Illinois.
Akbar.
Yassine, Chicago, the greatest city on the planet.
That's right.
Joseph from the beautiful Sunshine State, Tampa, the best state on the planet.
Carolyn here from West Palm Beach, Florida.
Hey, Carolyn.
Karen from Tampa, Florida.
Hey, what's up, Tampa?
Sway here from San Diego, California.
Sway from San Diego. What's going on, Sway?
All right.
This is G calling from my mom's basement in beautiful California.
It's a pretty big basement, G.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys. So listen, we're going to go ahead and get started with our Friday night call. We're going to get more time for people to get in. We're going to just keep it going. You guys already know that this is our Friday night huddle. This is our Friday night huddle. Every week we get together and we come together as a team and we do what's called a Friday night huddle. So this is a little bit more of a relaxed atmosphere. This is nothing where you can't ask questions, you can't get involved. This is where we come as a team, as a unit, as a family, and come and learn. And we learn about the different products that we have and the different ways that we can facilitate these products. And we just become more knowledgeable as we're going forward in this commercial lending industry. I'm so excited about the number of people that I'm seeing on these calls. Last week we had a really good turnout, and I'm going to go ahead and start, just kind of piggybacking off of what we talked about on last week. Last week we discussed gap funding. We discussed gap funding on last week, and I think we had about 28, 30 people that showed up on the calls, and I think we're going to get that today as well. But today we're going to go and do a little something different, okay? We're going to talk today on a topic, let's make everything make sense. Let's make it make sense. In the commercial industry, a lot of you all are just starting in this industry, and some have been in the industry for a long time. But one of the things that I understand is that in this industry, if you don't understand the basics of commercial lending and exactly what it is that we do and what you have access to in your hand, that you cannot make money. Hence, make it make sense. If it does not make sense, then it does not make dollars. Correct, guys? So I want you all to participate in today's call, and I really want you to really engage, because this is really going to be a learning experience on on the different products that we have to offer with Sequoia. And we're going to kind of hone in on some real estate stuff today. So, you know, some of you all just real estate experts, I know we've got a few real estate experts on the call. Please chime in, give us some advice on some of the things that you may have seen, and it'll help some people that's kind of new to the industry and learning. Is that okay? All right. You guys can take your phone off, take your mics off, so you can engage and ask questions at any time. Okay. So today's topic is make it make sense. Make it make sense. So let's make it make some sense, guys. Let's get to some money and learn how to do this real estate. Learn how to do this commercial lending thing, so we can all start getting some dollars in our pocket. Is that okay with you all?
Yep.
All right.
Mo, hey, Mo,
Yes.
it's Alita. I just got out of emergency room yesterday, so I'm sitting here kind of tired. So I'm
Oh,
listening,
man.
but kind of quiet. I'm on crutches and stuff. So
Okay, Alita. Well,
yeah.
just
So that's why I'm a little bit quiet. I got my camera off.
no, that's okay. That's okay. Well, hopefully you get better. Okay.
Thanks.
All right. 1 second. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today, I just want to start talking about what it is with commercial lending. Commercial lending. Okay. And I hope you guys got some pens and paper, and some of you all have the ability to write down, because you need to learn and know exactly what commercial lending is and what you have access to, what you have at your fingertips. So some of the six major programs, I guess, or lending programs that commercial lending has to offer. The very first thing that most people, when you think about commercial lending, is what? You think about real estate and you think about lines of credit, right? When you're thinking about business funding, the first thing that most people in business and commercial business, they want to deal with something with real estate, or typically lines of credit. Why lines of credit? Because they need flexible access to funds. So they need flexible access to funds. So one of the six major lending programs that commercial lending has to offer is lines of credit. So what are lines of credit? Lines of credit are simply funds that's flexible in use. A line of credit allows organizations to borrow up to a predetermined amount. What is that you got approved for? You get approved for $100,000. That means a line of credit gives you access and acts as a revolving line, which means you can use over and over and over again when you make those payments back, correct? That's a line of credit. That's one of the major ones. A term loan. I know you all have heard this term before, because most people they ask for, what kind of term loans do you have? What kind of term loans you have? That's a loan that's structured specifically for purposes such as buying equipment. This is a closed-end loan, right? Financing real estate or expanding your operation. It's offered a fixed repayment term. A term loan means that it's amortized. That means that it has a start date and it has a beginning. It has a start date and an end date. A term loan has a term set, whether it's 10 years term, whether it's 15 years term, whether it's a 30-year term. There's a start point and there's an ending. So when you hear the word term loan, what people are asking is, what kind of programs do you have for a fixed term? Nothing that's going to adjust as time goes on. Sometimes you have adjustment payments and things of that nature, but a term loan is just a fixed loan, okay? An asset-based loan, or ABL, okay? This is what a loan that's used in commercial lending when you're leveraging your balance sheet, you're leveraging inventory, you're leveraging equipment, things of that nature. Equipment financing, okay? This is another area in commercial lending that's popular. Equipment financing. What is equipment financing used for? That's used for people that want that has restaurants, people that need food trucks or printers or warehouse equipment.
Oh,
Anything that's
washing
going to
machines
allow them,
and
that's going
dryers.
to give them the equipment to make that job or that company be successful or to be able to be functional. Okay. And so sometimes you may not be able to get approved for an unsecured amount of cash, but yet you're able to get approved for equipment financing. That's another component of commercial lending. Real estate loans, which is what we're going to talk about today. Of course, we can't cover everything, but we're going to talk today about real estate loans. These are the loans in commercial businesses that acquire, develop, or refinance commercial properties, okay? Real estate loans can be for purchasing office space, right? Warehouses, retail space, investment properties, right? This is what real estate loans and investment loans are all about. This is another component of commercial lending. Commercial lending, working capital. This is another component. Working capital. What is working capital? A lot of businesses need operating cash. They need day-to-day operational expenses. They need to pay employees. All right? They need to buy inventory. They've got an immediate need, something that came up in their business, and they need cash. Okay? That will fall up under working capital loans. Okay? And we have working capital loans. We have those. All right. I'm kind of moving a little fast today because I want to get down to the meat and bones of things, but I want to go through some of this preliminary stuff here. Okay. So, what are business loan terms? It's commercial lending, right? So, what people want to know in commercial lending is what are the terms? What are the terms to the loan? Have you all heard when clients will come and say, hey, what's your loan terms? When you're talking to a client, or some of you all that's investors, one of the first things that you want to know is what are the terms? Okay, so if you're going to be in commercial lending or you're going to be an investor, one of the main things that you want to know is the different terms. Because you can't make your deal make sense, or you can't make your client's deal make sense unless you understand the terms. And the terms consist of all the rules and the conditions set by the lender, right? All the rules and the conditions that's set by the lenders. So we're playing ball on the lender's terms, right? So we want to know when we're engaging in business and we're engaging in the deal, we want to know what are the loan terms. And some of you all don't understand the basic loan terms, okay? So what is it that you look for when you're looking for commercial lending and you're trying to understand a loan in commercial lending? You want to understand the terms, correct? One of the main things that you want to understand when you're looking at the terms is what? The loan amount, right? You want to understand the loan amount. What is the loan amount of the property? What is the loan amount of the working capital? How much money do you need? How much are you borrowing from the lender? We need to set a standard of exactly what it is that you need to have for your project. The second thing, after you identify that loan amount, most investors and most clients, what's the next question that they ask?
Think the rate. What is the rate?
What's the rate? What's the interest rate? Why is a customer why is it that a customer want to know the rate?
They want to know how much the money is going to cost them.
They want to know how much is this money about to cost me? What do I need to pay back? How much interest am I paying back on this money? Okay? This is part of the terms that you need to understand as an investor, as a broker. You need to understand these terms. the term length, I'm sorry, annual percentage rate or the APR, the term length. That's the time period in which you have to repay that loan, right? Sometimes it's a few months. Sometimes it's several years. That's the term of how long you have to pay the loan back. What about the repayment schedule? These are still different terms that you would hear that you have to be mindful of. When you're dealing with real estate, commercial properties, what's the repayment schedule? Some of you all may have heard the word amortization, where it's amortized, which means that there's an open and a close date. It means there's a set time and a period of how many payments that you have to make in order to fulfill the loan commitment. That's going to come in way of your repayment schedule. These are terms that you need to hear and learn and know, because this is what when you're talking to your client, they're going to want to know this. They want to know, what's the repayment schedule like? How long do I have to pay this money back? Because I'm trying to make an investment, or I need to borrow money from my company, but how long do I have to pay this money back? What is my payment going to be weekly? What is it going to be monthly? Right? What is the term of the repayment? What about the next one? What about fees? That's a big one, right? That's a pretty big one. Most investors and clients want to know what? Fees. How much is this going to cost me to originate? Now watch this, because a lot of times people get confused with origination fees and broker fees. These are origination fees. Origination fees simply means this is what it is. These are the fees that the lenders are taking to originate this loan. We got to pay the admin. We have to pay any type of prepayment penalties. Anything that's going to go in originating this loan is going to fall up under fees. Then, of course, you have your broker fees. That's what we charge. That's how we make our money. So if the fees come to, maybe $10,000 or $7,000, whatever it is, broker fees may be another $3,000. And it's all spelled out on the HUD. Another term that you need to know about is collateral. You'll hear the word collateral. Most lenders want to know, what type of collateral are you working with? What type of collateral are you able to secure this loan by? Am I right?
Yep.
They want to know, what do you have to put up just in case you do what?
Default.
Default. If you default, they want to know, what are you using for collateral? How did you collateralize this loan? This lender saying, hey, whatever you're switching or putting in place, whether it's a property, whether it's a vehicle, it's worth us giving you a loan based on that, because if you do not pay, then we get the right to take your house, your vehicle, whatever it is that you put up for collateral. In this market, personal guarantees. You hear more and more about PG loans, right? Y'all heard that term, PG?
Yes.
Personal guarantors. Now talk to me, right? Anybody heard that term before?
Yes.
PG
Yeah, we with
loan.
you, Mo. Yeah, PG.
PG. And what does that mean? A PG
Personal
loan,
guarantee.
what does it mean?
Personal guarantee means you're going to pay it if it defaults. If the business goes out of business, you're responsible.
That's right. And so in order for you to be a personal guarantor, you need to have what?
A good credit.
That's correct. So what lenders do is lenders will give you a loan based on your business, but what they're saying is, hey, your business may not be old enough, it may not be established enough, we may not have everything that we need, but we want you to sign with this. We want you to personally guarantee that if this business does not do what you say it's going to do, or you think it's going to do, or this property does not do what it said you think it's going to do, that you're going to personally be responsible for this loan. That's a personal guarantee. This is commercial lending. These are the things that you're going to hear about every day in commercial lending. Is that a PG loan? What's the fees? What type of collateral are they looking for? What's the term? What's the interest rate? What's the loan amount? How much can I get? These are questions that come up all the time in commercial lending, right? What's something else that they want to know about?
How fast?
Huh?
How fast you could get the deal done?
How fast I can get the deal done. That is something that they also want to know about. What about equity?
Yeah.
Most investors want to know what's the equitable position of this property. What's the equitable position? And that's just the difference between the current market value and what you owe. These are terms that you need to know. What is equity? That's the difference between the current market value of the property and the amount that you owe. These are terms that you have to know and learn. These are terms that you should know and learn as investors, as consultants. You should know these terms. Market value. You guys hear the market value, right? So when you're dealing with real estate, one of the things that you want to know right off the bat is what the market value is, okay? What's the market value of the property? Basically, all that means is what are others willing to pay for this property? Based on comparables to what was sold in that area. What are others saying that this particular property is worth? That's market value.
I don't know, Mo. When you're talking about commercial, yeah, comparables has a small factor in it, but I think with the commercial, like real estate, they really want to more lean towards the income approach. What is that property producing?
Well, so in this respect, right, and Akbar, you're absolutely right. When you're dealing with things and talking about like DSCRs and things like that, they want to know what that property is producing. But there's also they want to know what the market value is of that property. What is it? Because for support reasons, right? If I'm buying a property, and commercial consists of not just a shopping mall, but commercial property also consists of anything that's not based residential. Your fix and flip, your 1 to 4 units, right? So you need to know what the market value is. And what Akbar is saying is that in some cases, when you're talking about mixed-use properties or cash flowing properties, the lenders are concerned about what is it cash flowing. What is that property cash flowing? But they also want to know what the market value of that property is, especially when they're using that property as what? Collateral, right? Am I right?
Yeah.
So let's make it make
So
some
Mo,
sense. Go ahead.
so Mo, what if the property isn't cash flowing and it's a vacant mall, or how do you get your valuation like that?
As
Or,
is properties, if it's not cash flowing, you're still okay. So let's take a single family home. Okay, we're gonna get to that in a few minutes too. By the way, let's just take a single family home, a real estate property. Okay, that nobody lives in, and you're buying it. You're saying, okay, they're gonna go based on the after repair value, or they're gonna go on the market value. And the lender, what the lender does is, the lender's going to be very conservative in their approach in lending based on that market value. It may not be cash flowing now, but they're anticipating it being cash flowing once that property is back up to standard. once you put money back into this property and get it back up to par. They're anticipating this property to become a cash flowing property. So anticipation of that property is another way the lenders look at in terms of their value. Okay, and what the property is worth now, what it's going to be worth once it's rehabbed and once it's completed in that scenario. Okay, so they'll take an as is and they'll take a market value, an ARV. Does that answer your
Okay,
question?
tie that in more to like a empty warehouse building.
Okay.
I wanna-
8,000 square foot empty building. Nothing in it, it's empty.
To add to that, Mo, can I just add something to that
Yeah,
to answer
absolutely.
the gentleman's question for you? The warehouse, when you talk about cash flow, what the lender's going to do, what the bank's going to do, or whoever it is, they're going to look at the bank statements to see what the cash flow is before they give you that money. And they're going to look at that as well to see what the valuation of what it is that you're trying to offer as collateral. Just want to add that too.
And that's on a cash flowing property, though. You guys are discussing cash flowing properties. All properties aren't cash flowing.
Well, he used that as an example of the warehouse property that wasn't doing so well. It was maybe in a bad area.
No, sir. It was a vacant property with nothing in it, so it wasn't cash flowing. That was the example. How do you come up with a valuation of a strip mall or something that is just not functioning? It was no life in it. It's just a dilapidated or just let's just say an empty warehouse with nothing in it. How do you come and the person wants to sell that property, but how do you create the valuation of that property when it's not cash flowing?
You would look
mean-
probably at the comps of what they're going for. So after you finish getting it ready enough for repair to rent out, they'll compare the comps of the area around you on when it's
Exactly.
rented to give it an evaluation.
In a
It's-
commercial loan, in a commercial business, for a commercial business?
Yeah,
And I'm not talking
but
about
it's-
just single family home.
Right, I
talking
know.
about a
Talking about,
business.
you got a strip mall and it has 7 locations inside that strip mall. On average, those locations will rent out for 1,500 a month or $2,000 a month. That's what they're gonna look at after it's repaired and rented. They're gonna look at the future value. Is that correct, Mel?
That's
Can I come
correct.
in?
Allie, you want to chime in on that one?
Yes, sir. Hey, love the discussion right here. That's fantastic. Okay, make it very simple. Any commercial property, whether it's a retail, shopping mall, office building, warehouses, does not matter what it is. So to answer Yassine's questions, what if the property is all empty? Now comes into commercial properties, you have only 2 type of properties. Either you'll have a stabilized property or a non-stabilized property. So a stabilized property, just like Mo said, it's already rented out. You are collecting the market rent. Now, when the lender or the appraiser goes out there to evaluate that project, now they can see what the full value is for that particular property in stabilized conditions. Now, what if the property is not stabilized? Now, not stabilized would be many, many different situations. It could be totally empty, or it could be only rented out 75% and below, or it could be rented out 100%, but you are not getting the market rent. Those are situations are all called non-stabilized property. So when the lender or when the appraiser goes out there, when they appraise the property, they always come up with 2 numbers. The first number, just like Mo said, is in as-is condition, what that value would be. So if the property is vacant, fine. What is the property? What is the value to? What is the cost to replace that property if it's vacant? So now you have a number. What if the property is fully occupied, stabilized, fully stabilized? Then they will have a value for that, right? So the lender is looking at both numbers. So now when you come into funding, if the property is not generating income, we can only provide a bridge loan. Only provide a bridge loan. A bridge loan is a short-term loan. We can fund up to 65% of the as-is value of that property. And once the client move in, or once the client purchase that building, now they can utilize it, or they can rent it out, stabilize it, and we can refinance it out to a long-term DSCR loan. Okay, that is under the assumption that the client purchasing the warehouse or commercial property as an investment property. Now, what if I have a seafood distribution company? I want to purchase that warehouse. That warehouse is empty. Now, in that case, yes, the lender will still evaluate that property just like the normal situation. But however, when they underwrite the loan, they don't underwrite the loan just based on the property, because now I am trying to purchase that building. I want to use it myself. Now, in that case, there's no rent whatsoever from that warehouse because I'm going to be occupied. So in that case, the lender will also look at my income to see what my income is. Because again, when I move in, they will assume that I am going to pay full rent for that warehouse. So am I able to pay for that full rent? So again, those are how they underwrite the loan or how they looked at it. So hopefully I answer a little bit of your question. Now, obviously, there's a lot more into it when they do the underwriting. It's a lot more complicated. But again, we don't want to go into the detail of it. But in general, that's what it looks like.
So Alan, with that scenario, and you answered it beautifully, I'm wondering, what if we had pre-leases going into the empty building with the maybe 2 or 3 tenants with pre-lease condition? Would that help
Very good.
Facilitating the loan process?
That would definitely help. But
okay,
as you know, everybody can write up a lease. Okay, the lenders, they've been through all these games. So if you have a pre-lease, it would definitely help. But what really helped is that you actually took the deposit, not just a lease, but you can show that, hey, I took the deposit already. Okay, so now that make the game much, much stronger. All right.
Yeah.
However, in that case, the lender will still only give you a bridge loan. Why? Even though you have a lease, the property still not generating income. You see, when lender underwriting the loan, they looked at what you have right now. Is not what you have in the future. In the future is good. You have the lease is good. You have the deposit is good. But however, that property still not generating any income. The lease could be gone tomorrow. World War III could happen tomorrow. We all know what's going on, right? So in that case, they will still give you a bridge loan. You move in, you get the lease. Now, what does it mean by stabilize? Once you rent out all the units, now you're collecting rents. At least you're collecting rents for 6 months, consistently for 6 months, because you don't want the lender. No, I mean, they don't want you to see it, go in there and collect 1 month of rent. You go in there to claim that your property is stabilized. It doesn't work that way, right? So at least you can show them that you have 6 months of consistent collecting the rent. Now they can claim that your property is stabilized. Now they can refinance it into a DSCR loan. Give you a perfect example. Right now, as we speak, we are working on a deal in New York, $32 million deal. We just got the term sheet today. The lender, the client, it's a builder. He built this mixed-use apartment. You have the retail, you have the apartment, so on and so forth. It's a brand new building. Okay. Now, after the brand new building is done, now what is he going to do? He's going to rent out that building, right? But now, because the building's still not generating any income, so what we can only do is to give him 18 months of bridge loan. Get out of the construction loan, get into a bridge loan for 18 months, and hopefully in 18 months, he will have enough time. Hold on. Sorry about that. He will have enough time to rent out all the units to stabilize the building. So again, if you only rented out 10% of the building, is that stabilized? No, it's not. 50%, is that stabilized? No, it's not. You have to rent out at least 75% and above. Now you have a stabilized building.
And we can, just FYI, we can do some deals on properties that's not stabilized, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, no stabilized, we still do the loan. That is
Yeah.
called bridge loan. You stabilize the building, then we can do a term loan. Different.
Exactly.
Okay.
So let's make it make sense right now. Okay. So we talked about the 6 different areas of commercial lending. So now we look at Sequoia. Our platform offers us 10 commercial real estate funding solutions. We're going to talk about 4 of them and 5 of them today. But this is what our platform allows us. We talked about 6 different areas of commercial lending. This is just 10 areas in which we lend in the real estate. We also have business funding and business services, things of that nature. But today we're just going to focus in on that. So we got the 1 to 4 unit investment property loans, fix and flip loans, multifamily loans, right? Mixed use property loan. This is in your back office. This is in your back office, your commercial properties. Okay. So this is our platform. This is what we have, right? Look at this deal. Okay. $1.5 million. Somebody tell me what type of property is this right here being sold? This is a 6 unit.
Multifamily, 5+ units.
What is it?
Multifamily?
Multifamily. Multifamily. This is a multifamily unit. This is for 1.5. Let me ask you a question. What do you think we need to know as a buyer about this property? What's some of the questions as a buyer that you would raise and ask about this property when you're buying this? What would you ask?
The market value, what the rent roll
Market value.
is,
What else?
the rent roll.
The rent roll. What else?
DSCR.
What was that?
Is it the DSCR?
Well, okay, yes.
The occupancy, would that be rent roll or occupancy?
The rent roll would definitely show the occupancy.
Oh,
Any updates when the roof was updated, the furnaces, all that stuff for repairs?
Okay, so the condition of the property, right?
any liens on the property?
Any liens on the property? That's good. That's a good one. What else would you need to know about this multi-use property?
Cap rate?
The cap rate, okay. What else?
How much equity is in it?
Thank you. How much equity is in this? How much is it going to make me? What are the taxes? What about taxes?
Right, taxes.
What made you think he was in a good place?
Right? What about taxes? You're the buyer. You want to find out. It's 1.5 million for this, right? How is this going to make me money? How am I going to pay this loan back? Right? So what kind of property is this again?
Multifamily.
Multifamily. This is your multifamily. You go right into your back office.
It's like isolation. They don't know anybody, and then it's
Right into your back office, right?
You know.
And this is the terms of your multifamily. It needs to start at least $300,000.
Depression?
Okay. This is at 1.5 million, so we're good, right? Up to 50 million.
I'm just in this meeting right now. It's not
12
like
months.
it's just
Okay, guys, hey, put your phone on mute. If you're talking, we can hear you.
Like everything that I'm like getting myself into right now.
Okay, so minimum property value, $35K per door, right? That's how you assess these. This is how you assess these multifamily properties. Okay. Credit score needs to be a what? 650. This is in your back office. Now, if you're purchasing this property, remember your terms. LTV. Here's that term again, LTV. And if you're making a purchase and it says that we're only going to give you 70% of the LTV, what does that mean?
You gotta come up with 30%
You got to come up with 30% of what?
of the cost.
The
Right.
purchase price.
The purchase price, the cost, yeah.
That's correct. So you got to come up with 30% of $1.5 million. Okay, so you gotta come to the table
$500,000.
with five. Say that again.
$500,000.
You gotta come to exactly. You gotta come to the table with $500,000.
Can I get gap with that?
Okay, we can talk about that. So we're jumping again ahead, but yes, you can. You can. This is a way. She said, "Can I use gap funding with that?" We talked about this last week. Pairing gap funding with deals like this, where you need 30% to make this deal complete. So guess what? We can offer 100% financing creatively to clients utilizing gap funding. That's what we learned on last week, right? So yes, you
Share that
can use,
sauce, almost. Share that sauce.
so you can use 30% of gap funding. Okay, so now how do you get the 100%? So we go back to what we learned on last week about the recipe and the terms and conditions of gap funding. And so when you're promoting that 100%, you want to promote it based on the terms of gap funding credentials, right? Because you notice you want to use gap funding. You want to make sure they got a 680 credit score or better. You want to make sure that they don't have more than 6 inquiries in the last 6 months. They don't have more than a new debt in the last 6 months. They want to make sure, all the things that we learned on last week. When you want to pair something together like that to create a 100% scenario. But in this scenario, you're going to need $500,000 to close on this. What documentation? What if you were just refinancing it? If you was refinancing it, we're going to give you 65% of your of the loan to value for cash out refi, or the market value. I'm sorry, the market value. 65% of the market value for a cash out refi. Here's your documents needed. All you need is 2 months bank statements. Your corporate entity documents. What is that? Just showing you got an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, right? Your real estate track record. They want to know, the lender wants to know, what is your history? What's the history in your real estate career? How many deals have you bought like this? How many deals have you flipped, right? How many purchases, real estate transactions have you made? Okay. What about this one, guys?
Multi-use,
What is this? What kind of property is this?
multi-use or mixed use.
That's a
Storefront.
multi-use? Okay, this one needs rehab, right? It has 2 storefront offices, 3 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartments in it. Each apartment can cash out for $1,300. The storefronts can cash out for $2,500 per month. This is a multi-use property, right? What additional information do you feel is missing to make a determination on this type of deal? A multi-use. What are you looking for on this deal?
How much of it is rented out at the top for, I guess, apartments?
Right. I want to know if these apartments are rented out. I want to know, what's the condition of the apartment? I want to know, where is this located? And I notice that this is on a major street. That's a good sign, right?
Right, what's the rehab cost?
What's the rehab cost?
How long is it gonna take to get done, the rehab?
Exactly. Will anybody rent in this area? Somebody gonna rent this, my apartments upstairs. There's a storefront in a location where it's gonna drive in traffic. Isn't that, as an investors, that's something that we want to look at, right?
You want to know also what type of business is being done below the properties.
That's absolutely right. Who said that? Thank you.
Sway.
Sway, good. That's good. We want to know what kind of business is going to be going on in those stores, okay? So here you go. Multi-use. We know that loan has to start at $300,000 to $50 million. This loan is intended for new and experienced real estate investors seeking funding for mixed-use property. Yes, mixed use, not multi-use, sorry. Mixed-use property. Mixed-use properties refers to properties intentionally used for a variety of purposes, including commercial, residential, retail, office, parking spaces, right?
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Because one of the questions were, what are the repair costs? Would you combine this with, because this type of loan don't offer like a rehab amount? Right? So would you, if it needs some kind of rehab,
You would know, that's one of the questions. So what additional question information you want to know the rehab amount?
so the rehab amount would be included in what they're asking for, or would you put that with together
No.
with a different loan?
That's going to be separate. So the rehab
Okay.
amount is separate for what they're asking for in the sales price. Okay.
Right.
So typically what you do is you're gonna get your sales price, and you're gonna send out a general contractor, someone to go out and make an assessment of the property and see exactly what that rehab cost is going to come out to. And that's how you're going to make a determination and whether this is a good deal for you to pursue or not.
Would that rehab cost be included in the loan amount? I guess that's my question.
Yes, it will.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. Okay. So, what about this house? What about this one, you all? Now, this is a good one. The investor has a rental property. He needs cash. The market value is $600,000 on this. The client owes $250,000. What kind of property is this, and what should we offer as a solution?
Would it be a fix and flip?
No.
No?
A single family home. Or
Single family home.
You want to refinance? You want to refinance?
Cash out refund.
Cash out refinance. Very good. Cash out refinance. That's going to be the solution, right? That's going to be the solution. The market value is $600. So tell me this: what would be the cash out refinance on this?
Well, I think it's up to the client. It's up to the client too.
About 390, was it 75%?
Let's look at the terms right here. Let's look at the terms. Okay. Cash out is 75%, like Joey said. 75% for a cash out refi. So
450.
the market value is what?
600.
All right. So that gives you how much, Joey?
450. And then you take
Okay.
out
And then how much is owed?
250. So leave the client with 200.
So it leaves the client with 200,000. Is that a good deal for the client to get? He needs cash out. Of course, there's other factors that go in place, as interest rate, the payment, and things of that nature. But for the sake of the solution for what he needs, is that a way for him to get cash out? Yes.
Yes.
That's a way for him to get cash out. Right?
Yeah. Now, question mode, the customers or the client's credit requirements, is it the same as what it would be for gap funding?
No, not for this. Okay? Because here's the reason why. Gap funding credit requirements is going to be always going to be higher than, because it's unsecured. It has nothing tangible connected to it, right? So the risk levels are higher, opposed to it being connected to a tangible product like a property. So here it's 650 minimum credit score is what you need. A 650 minimum credit score is what you need, okay?
Is there a personal guarantee on these ones as well?
It is. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay. So 80% LTV for the purchase. But in this case, what is this? A refi, right? 75% cash out, 75% of the market value. All right. No personal income checks. See, no personal income checks. Want to make sure that the purchase is under LLC or your personal name. Rates are going to start at sevens, high sevens, okay? What do you need for this type of deal? Just the application. Prove your corporate entity, showing it's under the LLC. 2 months of bank statements. Simple. Is that something we can do? It's pretty simple.
Yeah.
And as a broker, let's go back. We're charging 3 points. What does that equal up to?
A lot.
Somebody said a lot.
I like that one.
Just saying,
Right?
bro.
What's the loan amount?
I mean,
450, so it'd be about 13.5.
Exactly. So 13.5. So we're charging 3 points. We're making $13,500. And as a broker, you're gonna make your scheduled commission. Okay. All right. Now I want you to pay attention to this one. Here's another one. What is this? The sales price is $80,000. This is an acquisition wholesale deal. Pretend it's acquisition wholesale. It's $80,000, right? The ARV is $520. The rehab budget is $200,000. That's a big rehab budget, right? What kind of property is this? First of all, let's identify that. What kind of property is this?
This one is
Fourplex, multi-unit?
fix and
What
flip.
is it?
Fourplex, multi-unit?
That is correct.
Fourplex.
This is a 1 to 4 unit, right?
Oh.
So the ARV is for $520. The sales price is $80K. Can we do this deal?
No,
Exactly. Why can't we do this deal?
because it's under 100,000.
Because it's under 100,000. We can't do it under this loan. We can make it work, but not under this loan. And under this loan, because it's only 80,000, right? It needs to start at 100,000. So it's a couple of ways to do this. So let's talk about this. There's a lot of juice in here. There's a lot of meat on the bones, right? So you need another $20,000 to make it 100,000. Is there any way for us to get creative here?
of course, it's easy. It's just 20 grand.
Right. So how do we get creative and maybe boost this loan up another 20 grand to make it 100,000 and make it still beneficial to the customer? And what do we do?
Add on a garage or something?
Talk to
Yeah,
the seller, see if the seller increased the sell price to 100 grand.
Exactly. To do what though? To do what?
So you get the loan done and maybe get a kickback and you give them a little extra to cover their end on taxes.
Maybe to cover some of the closing costs. Maybe to cover some rehab. Maybe we put 20,000 back in this, and Mr. Customer, we're gonna go up another 20,000. Can you come with, can you help us with the closing costs?
Wow.
What do you think about that, Alan?
So you wouldn't turn this away. They would still fill out that 1 to 4 unit
Yeah,
application.
I'm not turning this away.
Right.
As it is, $80,000. Of course, according to the guidelines, we're not supposed to be able to do it because of the guidelines of being 80,000. But we're going to get creative and see how do we get them up to 100,000. Okay.
That's not something I would do as a broker, though, right? We would send it to the advisors or what?
No, you could. No, this is something you're going to talk to your client.
Oh, okay, okay.
You can talk to the client about this. Okay. What if there was not enough meat on the bone, and you could see this, in this particular case, there's a lot of meat on the bone. The ARV is $520. You're going to be in on this deal, $280,000 from the rehab budget and the sales price. But you need to boost that 80 up to 100. So we 300 in, right?
Now,
Is my math okay? Say that again.
Yeah, could you do a gap loan for the purchase and then do a cash out refinance on the?
Yeah, so I'm getting to that. So another solution is what we talked about last week. You might just want to be a cash buyer. Could you not just tell your customer, and listen, Let us get you the cash and you be a cash buyer. You can buy this in cash, 80K. And we're going to do that by way of getting you gap funding. Right? Or we can increase the sales price by another $20,000 and ask the customer, Mr. Akbar, can you please give us $20,000 toward the closing costs?
I have a
Yeah, we
question
can make
on
it, we can
increasing
make that
that
happen.
price.
All depends on how long.
Right. Well, he said, Mr. Akbar said we can make that happen, right?
So increasing the price, wouldn't you have to find comps?
Well, we're gonna find. We got comps. In this scenario, we got comps. We know the ARV is up there.
Right.
We already know what the value is here.
Okay.
So it's a lot of meat on the bone here. But this is an acquisition deal. This lady's trying to hurry to get rid of this because she's got to move out of the country for wherever it is. She wants to dump it. 80K. Whatever the situation is. Okay? But this is something that has a lot of meat on the bones. So you have a lot of wiggle room. And when you have a lot of wiggle room, you're able to negotiate. So this is a 1 to 4 unit scenario with a lot of property. I mean, a lot of profit. Right? So these are the things that we have to look at as investors. This is what we have to look at as commercial lending agents. When you understand the way that investors think, then you can sell this product. You can sell this product to your investors because you understand how it is that they think. You understand the loan terms. Okay? You need to learn the language. You need to learn the scenario. You need to know. So you are doing pretty good in identifying the properties, whether it's a 1 to 4 unit, whether it's just a commercial property, whether it's a duplex, whether it's a single family home. So those are the first things that you have to identify, because as agents, you want to go right to your back office and see exactly what it is that you have to offer, right? Because we have so many things in our back office to offer. Okay?
Now, Mo, can I ask you a question? I'm sure I'm not the only one that they have clients like this, but I got some investors, they like to go to the auctions and buy property from the auction. But some of the properties, they need to make sure they got the funding to pay for it right away. They don't necessarily have the time to wait to go through the loan when they bid on it. For those clients, would it be better just to have them do the gap loan and have the money on standby for something like that? Or is
that's your only option. You cannot buy a property out of auction using funding.
Okay.
So your only option is to use unsecured funding, which would be utilizing the gap funding program. Okay?
Okay.
Utilizing the gap funding program. Remember the 3 C's in lending, guys. Character, capacity, and collateral. These are our 3 C's in lending. Character, that's your personal credit worthiness or your company's credit history. The capacity, this is what lenders look at. Your credit capacity. That's the amount of credit you have, a person has available to them. How much credit do you have? Do you have the ability to repay it? The collateral. That's what lenders use in order to secure their loan. Just remember this, when you're putting together loans, remember these 3 C's. You want to look at the credit. You want to see how much a loan capacity that this borrower has, that they can get. And you want to also identify if they have collateral, right? So these are the things that we are dealing with commercial lending, and this is what we are doing here in Sequoia. We've got 10 different real estate loans that you can tap into. Of course, we're only covering a couple today, But next week, we're going to talk about land acquisition. We're going to talk about new construction funding. We'll talk about cash flow loans, okay? Because it's a plethora of different loan programs that you have to understand when you're trying to offer this to your customers. Now, when you learn what we're learning, now it's time for you to go out and identify what type of clients will utilize this type of money. Talk to your investors. Talk to the people in your circle that want to become investors. We're just talking about real estate right now. That want to buy properties, that want to get into the commercial real estate game. Okay? What questions do you have for me?
I have
Come on,
one.
y'all,
Let's
talk to
see.
me. What questions do you have?
For someone who want to get in the real estate game into the multi-units, right?
Yes.
They really don't have much money to come up with the 20 or 30%, but their credit is great. They have a little experience. Would that be someone that would qualify to do, of course, the gap funding to give them the down payment?
Yes.
But also the percentage to purchase something that's a multi-unit?
Let me understand your question again. So you want to know, let's ask one more time from me if you don't mind.
All right, so someone wants to get into real estate and they want to buy multi-units.
They want to buy a multi-unit.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe their first purchase investment,
Okay.
5 units.
Okay.
10.
First purchase.
They don't have the down payment, the 20, 30% down payment, but they have the good credit. They've had a little experience in doing rental. No, don't have any as maybe renting out a house they had before. But now they want to get into more than just one rental.
Okay.
Would that be something that we can help them with, even though they don't have the down payment?
As long as they qualify for the gap funding, yes.
Okay.
So we keep going back to this gap funding because we know that's the secret sauce too, right? To
Right.
getting people the extra cash. So you want to embed in your mind that these people should have at least a 680. I know the guidelines say 660, whatever, but a 680 is what I really want to see them have if they could. A 680. You want to make sure that they don't have any new debt in the last 6 months. No new increase, no more than 6 increase in the last 6 months. And they want to make sure that their debt to income ratio or their credit ratio is not more than 60%.
Okay.
So when you all are looking at these customers and you're trying to figure it out in your head, this is where your brain should start going in that direction. Mr. Customer, what's your credit score? It's a 700. Right. Great. Do you have any new debt in the last 6 months? No. Great. Do you have more than 6 inquiries in the last 6 months? No. Excellent. Is your debt coverage of your credit cards and revolving debt more than 60%? No, I paid everything down to about 20%. Perfect. Are you a W-2 employee or are you 1099? Well, I have a job. Excellent. You see where my brain is going? Because if you can qualify them for gap funding, they'll automatically qualify for
everything else.
Everything else.
So
let that be your matrix.
Score.
Say it again.
I know to the score you said the credit score, I know you said W-2, you looking for 650, 670, but if they're self-employed, I asked you this question before, self-employed has to be 700 and up?
Yes. Self-employed is riskier. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Self-employed is riskier. So self-employed is going to require a higher, let's go back to our personal guarantee, right? Guarantor. It goes back to that. Having a personal guarantor to secure that loan because it becomes riskier as a business owner. You're not a W-2. You don't have a guaranteed check, what they call guaranteed check, coming every 2 weeks, every month, every week. So
Yeah.
the risk levels are higher. So they're going to offset the risk minimization with credit score. That's how they offset it, with credit score. Okay?
Now, can I add something in there real quick on that?
Absolutely.
Also, they're gonna look at the income, meaning if the person's making $35,000 a year, they're not gonna give them a gap loan for $500,000.
No, they won't. However, if they're making $35,000 a year, they might give you 30,000, right?
Right, but if they're looking at a multifamily and it's a $500,000 house or, $1 million multifamily unit, 5 units, and you need 30% down, they're not gonna cover all that if the income's not there to subside it.
Joey, I can't fix everything, man.
Yeah, that was my next question too. Like the gap,
Hey, Joey,
my
this
gap.
is when you start. This is
Yes,
when you
sir.
start getting even more creative and maybe getting a partner involved, right?
Yeah, get a partner,
Get a
Right.
partner involved. This is where you
Like
call.
someone with a
This is where you
700
call
credit score?
sway at, huh?
Like somebody with another 700 credit score?
All right, this is where you call sway from San Diego.
Hey, hey, man, I was going to ask you too, because this gap funding, like you said, the secret sauce, but that doesn't factor into the next loan that you're going to need to purchase the property.
From a what standpoint? From a DTI?
Yeah.
No, because we're not. This is 2 separate loans. This is creative finance. This is solution driven. Okay, this is solution driven.
They won't look at that as another debt towards
Well, I mean,
next.
well, we're not in the business of calling the underwriters and telling them that we got, we got some unsecured funding, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because you got this, you just got the gap funding for the down payment, but now you need the rest of the money to purchase. I mean, now you need to be able to qualify for the rest of the money to purchase this this $1.5 million fourplex
Well, that
property.
goes off the property value. That don't do any personal income checks, correct?
Yeah. That's Sway, that with the gap funding is just unsecured funding. It's not going to show up. It won't show up in your credit for at least 30, 45 days. Okay.
Okay.
Say it again.
What about the property? Would that show up on your credit?
It depends on the loan.
If you do it through an LLC.
Yeah, that's not going to show up. If you're doing it through the LLC, that won't show up, right, Alan?
That is correct. That is correct.
That's not going to show up. Okay.
There's no seasoning on that, right? It don't have to be in your account for a period of time.
Not for some loans. Not for some loans. So for what we're doing, there's no season. There's no seasoning on your down payment for a fix and flip or anything like that. There's no seasoning for that month.
Okay. I see.
So you're basically leveraging another loan program to meet the gap of what's missing, what's not available to you, what's not made readily available to you. So now you can borrow, leveraging your credit,
right,
to get the down payment that you need for your project, and then you put that with that. So no season.
Gotcha. Because it's not going to. You're already approved to get the property. You just need the down payment.
That's correct. It's not going to show. That's correct.
Let's say if an investor sees 2 properties they want to buy, are you able to do both deals for them at the same time? And they could use the gap funding.
Absolutely, man. We can do 2 deals at the same time. We can do 3 deals at a time. Absolutely.
So the term for the gap, in that term, once that term is done, they could refinance and just make that one loan now, right?
Yeah, so I'll use a good example. You're absolutely right. I did this with a gentleman who purchased a church. We financed the church. I used gap funding with the pastor for the down payment of the purchase of the church. Okay, so we was able to get gap funding so he can have down payment money, and then we funded with the lender's money the rest for the church. And then what he did was now, well, he's about to do it now, Benny. So you got another deal coming, Benny Miller, is that he's going to refinance the church, and he's going to include the gap funding in the refinance. So
I hear
he'll
you,
pay
Mo.
off he'll say it again.
I said, I hear you.
Okay. So he'll pay off the gap funding with the equity of the church. And so what people do, okay, I know we over time, you all, so I'm gonna have to cut it off. But what people do is they will take that money, get it, buy the property, sell the property, pay the gap funders back.
Well, I think it's important.
Or refinance the property, pay the gap funders back.
That's a great scenario that you just gave, because that's important that that actual pastor had equity to be able to do that. What about the individual who's not in that same situation? We got to be mindful of that. I'm just saying. Hey, I'm just saying that's a great scenario. That's perfect.
So
that's
the individual that's not in that situation, let's set it real quick, is that we would move them to a credit program then. It typically is going to be a credit program, credit issue. If they're not in a credit position, we move them to a credit program. Hopefully that'll help. But solution driven is our model. Okay? So that's our model. We want to create solutions. Okay? So any other questions? We got a lot of energy on this call tonight. A lot of energy. I love it. A lot of questions. Okay? So now we got an idea of how the program works, what happens on the back end. What happens on the back end, okay? And now this is what's going to give you the ability to go out and sell these loans even more. I want to go back to what I said a couple of weeks ago. Go into your database, in your phone, your Rolodex, and I want you to contact the first 10 people that you see in your phone that you know that's in business or that's trying to be an investor that needs some cash. Leverage your heart, your warm market, okay? Leverage your warm market. Believe me, they need your money. Remember, you sell money for a living. You sell money for a living. You have access to cash. You have money for a living. You need to get rid of it. That's how you're looking at it. You need to get rid of this money. You got a lot of money for churches. You got a lot of money for rehab. You got a lot, but you can't make any money off this money you got unless you lend it out. Okay? So let people know that you have the funding, and let people know that you have the team to help you support whatever needs that they have as it relates to that. So whoever invited you out to this call today, guys, listen, somebody invited you out. If you invite you out to this call, get back to that person. Let them know that you're interested in becoming part of this team. Let them know that you want to be part of this family and you want to continue to learn and grow with the Sequoia Lending Platform. And then you sign up right away. Okay. Alan, you got anything right now for us?
Just want to wish everybody Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy Year of the Dragon.
Absolutely. Today's
year,
New Year's Eve.
Happy Year of the Dragon. It's Chinese New Year's today, or New Year's Eve today.
That's right. That's right.
Great
Happy New Year.
I like this one. This was
all right. I'm glad you all showed up. Listen, next week we're going to dive into land acquisition. We're going to dive into construction financing. We're going to touch on those things, and then we're going to do this. Make it make sense for about 3 weeks. Okay, about 3 weeks. We're going to touch on different areas of what we have in our Sequoia platform. So take this information, you all. It's time to start making money. Okay. take this information so we can start making money off of your knowledge and what you have. With that being said, thank you for joining our Friday night call. And then I'll see each and every one of you all on next week. And remember, we got trainings on Wednesday and on Fridays. I'll see you all at the top. Wings up, everybody.
All right, bye.
All right.
Eagle.
Eagle, wings up, wings up, wings up.
What's up? What up, G Money?
I didn't forget about you, bro.
Well, I was waiting for a phone call today. What up, Mo?